Maybe it was doing papers. Okay, so what I'll start with is the commentary, the information here about public comment before we call the meeting to order. And so temporary public comment email established for the City of Los Banos City Council meeting, January 14th, 2021. Emails must be received by 4 p.m. The city has established a temporary email address citizens can use to email public comments on any agenda item limited to 250 words or less. Any public comments received by January 14th, 2021 prior to 4 p.m. will be read aloud during the appropriate time and agenda item. The email address is cityclerk@losbanos.org. Public comment during public hearings will be taken in real time via email. Once the public hearing is opened, the City Council will pause the meeting in order to receive emails directed at the public hearing up to 250 words and will read comments into the record after resuming the meeting as time permits. Please indicate that comments for a particular public hearing, one more time, please indicate that comments are for a particular public hearing by putting public hearing in the subject line of the email and the title of the public hearing. The council chambers are closed to the public. Those interested in viewing the City Council meeting can do so on the City of Los Banos website at the YouTube channel. Now I would like to call the meeting to order. Los Banos City Council meeting of January 14th, the adjourned City Council meeting, January 14th, 2021. And it shows that I'm to give the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Lambert, as a distinguished veteran, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We will now go to roll call, and that will be City Clerk, Mrs. Maloney.
Present.
Lambert,
Here.
Lewis, Councilmember Lewis, I think you might be on mute. Roll call, Lewis,
It doesn't appear as though she can hear.
Ms. Lewis? I see she's here.
Councilmember Lewis,
She can't hear us, she said.
Councilmember Lewis, I'm doing roll call, Lewis. Can you guys hear me? Because I think she cannot hear me.
No, she stated that that's what I said. She stated that she cannot hear you. She's here, present, but she cannot hear you.
Can she hear anybody or nobody
She can't hear anything.
from any of us?
I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear anyone.
We can hear you.
Let's see.
Maybe you need to turn your volume up? Councilmember Lewis, can you hear me? Is there a volume button somewhere
She can't
on
hear you,
GoTo
Lucy.
or maybe on her computer?
No, I requested that she.
Okay, I've got it.
Okay, there we
Okay,
go.
there you are.
All right.
Councilmember Lewis, we're doing roll call.
Here,
Lewis,
here.
Maria,
Here. Thank you. Now Now we will move to consideration of approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Mayor, I second that.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lewis, a second by Council Member Lambert to approve the agenda as submitted. Roll call, Mrs. Melanie?
Jones,
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Maria.
Yes. Motion carried. Agenda has been approved. We will now
Mayor?
move.
Before we get started,
Yes,
before we
sir.
get started, can we confirm that this is being live streamed?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Yes, we are being live streamed on
Is this
YouTube
gonna
on
be-
channel 96.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Now we will move to the public forum. Members of the public may address the city council on any item of public interest that is within the jurisdiction of the city council. This includes agenda and non-agenda items. No action will be taken on non-agenda items. The public may submit their comments by submitting a written statement by dropping it off in the utility payment box at City Hall, 520 J Street, or by emailing to the city clerk, cityclerk@losbanos.org, or you may send it by mail. Comments received will be read into the record during the city council meeting. City Clerk Melanie, do we have any comments for the public forum?
I have received no comments, either delivered to me or by email. And once we get done with this public forum, can we take a short, quick recess because we're not quite sure that the YouTube link advertised on the agenda works. And we want to make sure the YouTube channel is working before we proceed. So IT is troubleshooting that right now. So I don't know if, I would hate to begin the interviews and the public not be able to watch. So if we could just take a quick break to make sure that the YouTube channel is working and that the link is correct as advertised.
So the link, can I say something, please? The link is not correct, but we're providing the information, the correct information. Now it had to change because it crashed. However, if they search it, they can find it. We have several department heads that are watching it now, so it should be fine. We should be fine. If they click the link, it takes them to two different options. They just need to select the right option, and it is live streaming, the volume's on, everything's correct. Unfortunately, we had to change it last minute because of some technical difficulties, and we did not update it on the agenda. So I apologize for that. That was my error.
So we are confirmed that we are live streaming and it is accessible to the public at this time.
That's correct.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. So then we will move on and we will go to our city attorney to introduce us and discuss item 6, which is to conduct interviews for the city council member District 2 vacancy and make a selection to fill the vacancy. And City Attorney Vaughn will review the process and prepare us for our evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council, applicants, anyone else who's watching. The City Council has adjourned to this time and date to conduct the interview process to fill the vacancy for District 2. We have, as of this time, 4 applicants that will be interviewed today. 2 of the applicants have withdrawn their applications. I see all 4 applicants on the screen, so they're all here. If you look at your staff report, and I'm not going to go over the background unless you want me to, because we've done that like twice now. This will be the 3rd time. But I would draw your attention to attachment 1 on your staff report, which is my understanding of the interview process that was confirmed at the last meeting. I will note that all of the applicants should have gotten emails with the 8 questions that were submitted, 2 by each of the council members. Each of the applicants' applications have been posted online. I will note in the interview process on the attachment 1 that I failed to put the time limit on the introduction of each applicant. And I believe the council had agreed on a 3-minute introduction by each of the applicants. So we need to make that clear tonight. As you've envisioned it, each of the applicants will be interviewed separately. The city clerk will choose the order by random by drawing their names out of a hat. So each of them will be interviewed separately. They'll have an opportunity to make a brief 3-minute introduction about themselves, and then we'll be on to the 8 questions. And I believe the council indicated that they wanted to limit the answers to 1.5 minutes. And that's particularly because of, at that time, there were 6 applicants. I'm not sure whether or not the council, now that we have 4 applicants, wants to stretch that time, but we certainly can discuss that before we start. If you want to hold out a little bit more time for each applicant, that's entirely up to you. We would ask that the applicants not being interviewed, that they go off of video, but they can continue to watch the screen while they're not being interviewed, so that there's no distractions to the applicant that is being interviewed. But if you just turn off your video, you'll still be able to watch the screen, listen to the interview process, just like you would if you were watching it on YouTube. We just ask that we not have all of these squares up and live that might distract the applicant in terms of responding to the questions. We're proposing that the questions be asked kind of in a round robin process where each of the council persons asks their questions, but they ask their first question, and then we go on to the next council person who asks their first question, and we get around and we start again, so that each council person has an opportunity to answer, or excuse me, to ask both of their questions. I think that is it. So what we're asking you to do tonight is to confirm the time limits. The city clerk will be keeping the time. So when the time expires, I think she has an alarm that will go off, and we'll be off to the next question, or to the question portion of the interview. So I think it'd be appropriate to stop there and see if there are any questions from the city council regarding the interview process, and to give let's determine the time limits for both the statement and for the answers to the questions.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Mr. Jones, any questions or discussion regarding the process?
No, Mayor, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lambert?
No, sir, I'm good also.
And Mrs. Lewis? Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just want to make sure that it's clear in my mind. The candidates are allowed to stay on and hear each candidate interview. But when you were saying for them to close down their microphone, are you asking them to also close down their camera so that they are not distracting another candidate? Or can they keep their camera open? So I didn't quite hear you say that. So I just want to make sure it's clear that after each candidate speaks or goes through the interview process, that they're to mute their microphone and they're to close out their camera.
Yes, so for instance, when the first interviewee is being interviewed, the other 3 will have turned off their video and their microphones, but they can continue to view the meeting from whatever location they're at. It's just a courtesy to the applicant being interviewed. Staff intends on doing the same thing in this week.
I just wanted to make sure the process was clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I have no questions of the process.
So if we could establish that it is, now that we have 4 applicants instead of 6, you might feel like you have a little bit more time. Do you want to still limit the introduction to 3 minutes? And do you want to still limit the answers to the questions to 1.5 minutes?
Well, I'll go to council. Jones?
You know, I'd make the recommendation to keep the way it is because I'm sure with giving the questions ahead of time, these applicants prepped based on that time. So that's my thoughts.
Mr. Lambert?
Mayor, I agree.
Okay, and Ms. Lewis?
I agree as well.
Okay, and I agree as well.
So we
Mr.
can
Vaughn?
go, at this point, you can go to Miss Maloney and she can select the first applicant to be interviewed. She has a very sophisticated system all set up back there.
I have my
Names.
dog up.
Names written on a piece of paper.
I have Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez. So Mr. Ramirez will
No,
be.
she's just showing you all.
Oh, you're just showing it. You haven't pulled. Oh, you're just showing all the names. Okay. Haven't pulled one yet.
Jean Leaves right there. And Mr. Lamas right there. So there's 4 in there. Won't look. Take out the first one. Jean Lieb is the first one.
We'll give the floor to Mr. Lee. For the introduction, we would ask that the other candidates turn off their cameras while Mr. Lee is doing his presentation and interview.
Give me some time, the timer ready. Hold on.
I'll let you conduct this because you have the timer.
Hold on.
Okay, you ready?
Hold on, 3 minutes. Okay, whenever you're ready, I'll start the clock, Mayor.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Great. Good afternoon. My name is Gene Lieb, and I have lived in Los Banos for the past 19 years. During that time, I was the publisher, editor, and advertising director of the Los Banos Enterprise. As the advertising director, I worked with most of the local business owners to help market their businesses through print and online advertising. As editor, I helped report on local news, features, and sports stories. For most of those years, the enterprise covered all city council and planning commission meetings. So I have a good historical perspective of the highs, lows, and everything in between concerning the city government of Los Banos. And for the past 19 years, I have been committed to community service and giving back through the Los Banos Rotary Club, the Los Banos Chamber of Commerce, and the Los Banos Downtown Association. I have the ability and desire to listen to people, and I believe that everyone should be heard. It is for these reasons that I feel I am qualified to represent the citizens of District 2 on the Los Banos City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will go to interview questions. What we will do is we'll go through, each council member will do one question. We'll go around and then we'll come back around for the second question.
There's a lot of feedback, so I don't know if the council members who have mics on can turn theirs off.
Okay. So did everyone hear what I just said? We'll go through and each council member ask one question because we each have 2 questions, and then we'll go back and have each council member ask the second question. So we'll go first to Council Member Jones.
Mr. Mayor, after each question and answer, you need to give me some time to reset the timer.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Ms. Mellon.
So as soon as you get done After each council member asks the question, then I'll start the timer
Very
and the
good.
candidate starts speaking.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Jones's mic is still on, so if there's feedback, maybe if he can turn his off, it might help.
He's the one who's going to be asking the question right now. It's his question time.
All right, Mr. Lee, what do you feel would be the most important economic catalyst for Los Banos moving forward?
It would be an industrial park, which the city of Los Banos in the past has attempted, but this one would have shovel-ready land and ready-to-move-in buildings. Depending on the company, Los Banos needs to consider offering tax or fee incentives for industrial businesses looking to open or relocate to town. We need to find ways to entice industry and higher-paying jobs to come to Los Banos and make it a win-win-win for the company, the city, and the citizens who are the workforce. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lambert.
Good evening, Mr. Lee.
Good evening.
How does a strong local business community make Los Banos a better place to live?
A strong local business community equates to a healthy local economy and harmony amongst its citizens. Sales tax created by local businesses is an important revenue stream for city government to be able to operate and provide the needed services citizens expect. A robust local business community provides high-paying jobs to its citizens, helping to reduce the number of commuters. People who work and sleep in Los Banos increases the chances of more people taking a vested interest in Los Banos, as well as purchasing more goods and services locally. Local jobs, local shopping, and less commuting equates to happier families and the potential for less crime.
Thank you, Gene.
Go to Councilmember Lewis as soon as Miss Melanie's ready to reset her clock.
I'm good.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Lewis?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, my first question is, do you think our downtown street, do you think our main street / downtown is healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change that?
I don't believe our downtown is as healthy and successful as it should be given the population of our city at 40,000 people. There are many ways to change downtown. Obviously, with an endless supply of money, the easiest way would be to renovate the entire structure of downtown. But there is no pot of gold, so what do we do? I would do what is currently being done. A Los Banos Downtown Association was created with a mission to revitalize downtown Los Banos and make it a destination location. Without a pot of gold, this will take time and planning. That is why the association developed, successfully passed a property business improvement district in downtown Los Banos known as a PBID. A PBID is a specific public-private benefit district to fund business-related improvements, maintenance, and activities through the levy of assessments upon the property owners. A board of directors led by a CEO oversees the association and PBID. The majority of the board members are comprised of property owners who have a vested interest in the future of downtown Los Banos. Over time, the improvements will result in crime reduction, job creation, business attraction and retention, economic growth, and creation of a clean, safe, and entertaining environment for the community. Other cities have been successful in doing the same. In other words, if you build it, they will come. I know all of this because I am currently the treasurer of the Los Banos
That's the
Downtown.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My question, aside, timer good?
Yes.
Okay. Aside from COVID-19, what do you feel is the biggest challenge facing Los Banos, and how do you feel it should be addressed?
The biggest challenge would be how to balance growth correctly. The one item in life that is constant is change. All departments of a city are intertwined to some degree, some more, some less. public safety, planning department, economic development, public works, parks and recreation must all function successfully for its citizens to be happy and content. But each of those departments has their own set of important challenges. If I had to drill down to just one example of a specific growth challenge, it would be the important relationship between economic development, housing, and education. People want to live in a city where they can earn a living wage, an affordable home with clean water, pristine schools, and excellent health care. Those are the items that need to be balanced. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Now we'll go back to Councilmember Tom.
What is your favorite thing about Los Banos?
My favorite thing would be the people of Los Banos. We have a diverse group of people from many walks of life and backgrounds who are extremely good and giving people who care a lot about the future of our town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Lambert.
What are your thoughts on creating a sense of community pride in Los Banos?
I am in favor of creating a sense of community pride in Los Banos, and here's why. Los Banos citizens have a lot to be proud of. Henry Miller came to Los Banos in the mid-1800s, and he and Charles Lux created a cattle, farming, meatpacking, and irrigation system empire, which put Los Banos on the map. Combine all of that with the history of our natural spring baths, federally protected wetlands, the San Luis National Wildlife Refuge located on Wolfson Road, San Luis Dam, Reservoir, State Park, and our rich agricultural land growing and processing almonds, pistachios, cotton, and tomatoes. Los Banos is the tomato capital of the United States with 4 tomato processing facilities. Los Banos is home to the Buck Fawcett House, which was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright himself in the 50s, which won a 2019 Preservation Design Award for restoration. Former California Governor Ronald Reagan gave a speech from the home when he ran for office. There are other Frank Lloyd Wright designed homes in Los Banos as well. The people in Los Banos should be proud of their heritage. In Turlock, when I was there, we called it Try Turlock First. Here we can call it Love Los Banos First. Regardless, whatever we call it, we should proclaim it and be proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Lewis.
I was waiting to see if Lucy was finished with her.
Yes,
Lucy, good? Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, what do you hope to accomplish as a council representative for District 2?
First and foremost, I want to encourage people in District 2 to reach out to me and communicate with me their ideas, questions, and concerns. I know that the city right now has a monthly newsletter that people can subscribe to. And I understand the mayor is planning to create weekly information videos on YouTube. With the help of city staff, I would like to create an email list just for District 2 residents so that I can communicate directly with them and offer my assistance. Today's world is based on immediate satisfaction, and timely, open communication is imperative. Over the remaining 2 years of the term, I would like to push for the creation of an infrastructure plan to entice business owners to bring high-paying, industrial-type jobs where products are manufactured into Los Banos. One new large company opening in town would be great, but if not one large one, then 2 or 3 smaller ones. And over the next 2 years, I would like to have a firm commitment and plan from a healthcare company to build a new hospital in Los Banos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My last question is actually quite similar to Mr. Jones, and that is, what do you feel is the best reason someone would want to move to Los Banos, and why?
People want to move to Los Banos because of its location. It's close to the Bay Area without the high costs and high crime rate. It's within driving distance of recreation locations. It's strategically located between 2 major interstates, and the quality of life still provides a small town feel compared to a large metropolitan city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee. We appreciate your applying today. And of course, we welcome you to stay on as we go through the process. And so I'll go back. You're very welcome. We'll go back to City Clerk Ms. Maloney, or to pull out the next name out of the hat.
All righty, let's see. Eric Ramirez.
Eric Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez. Let me see. There you are, Mr. Ramirez. Very good. So, if Ms. Maloney is ready with the timer, then we'll go ahead. Mr. Ramirez, you may begin your opening remarks.
Okay, good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Eric Ramirez, and I've been a resident of Los Banos for 20 years. I raised my family here, and I came here to just get the small town feel. And as I've been working and living in this town, I've helped out at the local high school and at the junior high, giving my technical knowledge to the MESA programs at these schools, and in the hopes that young people will grow up to be something in the STEM field. So I've been just mentoring these young kids to hopefully have these kids in the future grow up, get STEM fields, and then come back to the community and provide more jobs and create industry, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll go on to questioning portion. And once again, we will begin with Councilmember Jones.
Mr. Ramirez, what do you feel would be the most important economic catalyst for Los Banos moving forward?
I think advertising to the world that Los Banos is here and that we have something to offer. I was very happy when Mayor Mike Villalta would go out there and try to bring businesses here in town, as well as spur new businesses in town. So that's something that I think we could do just by advertising what our benefits are for these businesses to come here to Los Banos.
Very good. Thank you. Go on now to Councilmember Lambert.
Hello, Mr. Ramirez. How does a strong local business community make Los Banos a better place to live?
Yeah, I think having businesses in town is a positive thing for Los Banos. I have seen that through my time here in Los Banos. As more options are brought to Los Banos for citizens to shop, it basically brings in more of the citizens' taxpayers' money into city government that can be used to further improve the town. So the business community and the government need to be close and working with each other to ensure that we provide to our citizens more opportunities in the sense of where they can spend their money instead of going outside of city of Los Banos to do that.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Lewis. Ms. Maloney's timers are ready.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do you think our Main Street / downtown is healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change that?
I think, unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, it is not healthy and is not as successful, but obviously we're not the only ones. It's happening worldwide. So as we get out of this pandemic, I think what we could do as far as city government is go out there and show to these business owners that we're there for them, that we'll listen to their concerns and see how we can help them out. And again, this is another example where we could advertise the benefits of these businesses to the citizens of Los Banos, and specifically for what would be my district, go out there and say, hey, this is what's available downtown, and get to know these business owners and their businesses so that we can help them out as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My first question, aside from COVID-19, which, as you mentioned, is a big challenge, what do you feel is the biggest challenge facing Los Banos, and how do you feel it should be addressed?
I think the biggest challenge right now is homelessness. I've seen this as I've have ridden my bike behind Home Depot. There's an encampment there, and it's just people that have fallen in hard times. And we should continue the plan that was set forth by the previous mayor, where we bought the housings for these people. We need to provide something for these people to be able to get back on their feet, because some of these people, through no fault of their own, have fallen in hard times. And I think as government, we should help them out in that sense by going along with this program that brings that to them, and hopefully they can get back on their feet.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go back around. Councilmember Jones.
What is your favorite thing about Los Banos?
The small town feel. The small town feel is something that a lot of people, especially from the Bay Area, are looking to get. And we're fortunate enough to have that here, while at the same time having a city that's growing and providing opportunities. So personally, for me, I get the best of both worlds, because we are growing and we still get that country feel. Also, that we're geographically 2 hours away from everything, which is a plus for especially families that like to travel to the mountains, to the San Francisco, and to the beach.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Lambert.
What are your thoughts on creating a sense of community pride in Los Banos?
I think the community pride is very important. We need to instill into our citizens this level of connectedness to each other, so that we can, as a city and citizens, tackle some of these other issues like crime that obviously every city has to deal with. At the same time, because we are a growing city, the people that are coming from the Bay Area, we can provide that level of satisfaction, telling people that we're a city that's growing, because that brings a positivity, instead of saying we're a city in decline, which is a negative, has a negative connotation, obviously. So bringing the pride together by showing the community that we are a growing company. We're a growing city, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Preston. Thank you, Mr. Lambert. Mayor Pro Tem Lewis.
Yes. What do you hope to accomplish as a council representative for District 2?
I hope to represent District 2, especially with the plans that are being laid out for the expansion and Pioneer Road. I know some of those changes will be happening will affect District 2. So I'd like to go out there and not just during elections, but actually creating an avenue for these people to talk to the District 2 representative, so that we can get those voices heard. I know that there's meetings that are being held by the Planning Commission to get their input, but it'd be nice for their district representatives to reach out to them, for those people that can't make those meetings or don't feel comfortable in a bigger level kind of meeting. I think that as a District 2 representative, I could go out there and say, hey, this is what's happening. Are you interested in talking, or what are your thoughts on the matter?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And my last question, what do you feel is the best reason someone would want to move to Los Banos, and why?
I think it's the same thing that drove me to come here 20 years ago, which is looking for an opportunity to grow my family. We have a lot of family in Los Banos, and it seems like there's a lot of people from the Bay Area that are coming to look for that, as well as for affordable housing compared to the Bay Area. But as people are coming, we need to show them that, hey, it's a place to raise your family. It's a place to work. It's a place for growth. And again, keep explaining that positive aspect that we are a city of growth and not a city in decline.
Thank you very much. That concludes our questions for you now, Mr. Ramirez.
Thank you for your time.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for applying. And then we will go to City Clerk Ms. Maloney for our next candidate.
Refugio Lamas?
Refugio Llamas. Do you pronounce it Llamas or Lamas?
Llamas is fine, yes, sir.
Llamas, okay, very good, Mr. Llamas. You may go ahead and begin your introductory comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Lewis, congratulations on your recent re-election and election. This is an honor. It's a high privilege for me. I've lived in Los Banos since 1992. I think Los Banos is a very special place to live. It has great opportunity to expand, to do a lot more for its citizens, and to attract more businesses. And that's what I want to be part of. I want to be part of that catalyst that brings in that next chapter to Los Banos and to improve the lives for our citizens, and again, to attract those larger jobs. I have a wide array of background I think will assist me in meeting those challenges. I've got a business major. I had my own business. Did 9 years with Santa Clara County correction officers, and I've been in the Marine Corps. Marine Corps has allowed me the opportunity to work in large budgets. Everything has to do with budgets, move personnel and people from one country to another country, understanding the limitations of constraints of time and money. And I think that my varied background will be beneficial to the city and its people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to our council member questions. Councilmember Jones.
Mr. Llamas, what do you feel would be the most important economic catalyst for Los Banos moving forward?
Well, there are several items that come to mind. You know, what we're doing over at Pioneer Road, I think thinking that way is very positive. I think those things are needed to move people, goods, and services. But one thing that comes to mind, however, is a hospital. A hospital will be a great benefit to our people. Many times, our hospital, they're having to do a tremendous job there with limited resources, limited personnel, limited space. So a lot of times our folks who need medical attention having to go outside of the area for that specialty care or higher level care. That hospital will reduce that time. And also, I think will spur those satellite industries, more doctors, more specialty care. And I think hopefully we can entice them to build a professional medical center. And again, that'll spur more innovation, more businesses, more specialty care, and increase the level of care to our citizens.
Thank you. Mr. Lambert.
Good evening, Mr. Llamas.
Good evening, sir.
How does a strong local business community make Los Banos a better place to live?
It's essential. It's essential for any community, any city, any municipality to have a strong business community. That is where we provide our services, the tax revenue for our services. That's how we are able to clean our streets. That's how we're able to respond to fires in a timely manner, especially for our police departments and our fire departments. The equipment that they have has a shelf life. It has a shelf life because of use and because sometimes that equipment is no longer able to communicate with other agencies because of new technology. So we need that tax revenue to ensure that we have those agencies available for our citizens so that we can maintain our roads, maintain our streets, cut the lawns on our parks, etc. And that creates a safer environment. It creates a safer environment for businesses to come and want to relocate here. It creates an environment where businesses want to stay here because we're taking care of things. And I think that adds to the quality of life for our residents.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Llamas.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think our Main Street / downtown is healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change that?
Well, thank you very much for that question, Councilmember Lewis. My heart goes out to the folks in the downtown area. They've been struggling even without this COVID pandemic. They've been struggling. They've been trying to make things make ends meet, and they're trying to provide a service of goods for our citizens, trying to make our community more robust, more dynamic, more diverse. And so I think that a couple of things we could do. We could redo the facades on these buildings. A lot of them are dated. They need to be updated. We can increase outdoor dining, maybe increase the sidewalk side. re-identify what we can do as far as landscaping. I know because of climate, we're limited in the kind of trees you can plant out here, but I think we can take a look at that. Again, create that inviting sense of atmosphere or where people want to go to it because it's been revitalized. I know we've been doing a lot of good things in downtown area, doing some lighting, doing the Christmas lights, things like that. Many years ago, I suggested that we buy the two corners over at 6th Street and Pacheco. We have a parking lot there and we have a auto parts store there. I think that is our focal point. If we had bought that and turned that into maybe two plazas there with a wrought iron fence across the street there that says downtown Los Banos, that creates an interest and a focal point where people say, hey, what's over there? So I think we need to do those kinds of things. Think outside the box. I know that's cliche, but we need to get to a different place and we need to take care of downtown.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, and my first question is, aside from COVID-19, what do you feel is the biggest challenge facing Los Banos, and how do you feel it should be addressed?
There are many issues, jobs, lower paying jobs, our streets, but I think that crime, we need to do more to provide the services, the needed equipment for our police agencies, because without keeping a handle on crime, businesses will not locate here. Without keeping a handle on crime, businesses will leave. Without keeping a handle on crime, those innovators, those entrepreneurs will not risk taking a chance on our city because they will have their goods broken into before they're able to sell them. So I think that's important. Crime is a killer for most municipalities. A lot of people leave. A lot of people leaving the state of California. One of it has to do with crime. And I think that those are some of the issues we need to address. One of the main issues, which could be a detriment for more businesses. Recently, I know that we've partnered with the Sheriff's Office and I think City of Merced, the Star, with the Sheriffs. I think those are things we need to continue doing. We need to continue doing that because the folks in the narco trade, they're very smart, they're very skillful, and they have endless resources. We need to stay on top of them because as soon as we think we're on top of it, they come up with another solution to us. And so I think that's ever moving target, and we need to stay on top of that.
Thank you very much. We'll go back to Councilmember Jones.
What is your favorite thing about Los Banos?
My favorite thing about Los Banos is it is my home. There's something special when every time I come home from an extended period of time outside of the area, as I'm driving up Highway 5 and I see the sign exit to Los Banos, Mercy Springs Road. It's a great feeling. As I go down Mercy Springs and I see the city come to view, it's a great feeling to know that I made it back again, and I see my neighborhood, see what's changed, what hasn't changed. I think that I want to bring that sense of home to all our residents so they can feel confident and happy in living here the way I do. I think Los Banos has a great future. We have great opportunity. We are geographically located strategically on Highway 152, which again bisects the state from east to west, west to east, 101, Highway 5, 99. Those are main arteries, and I think we're ideally situated. Like we've spoken before, we have recreation areas within 2 hours. We have Reno, we have the coast, the beaches, we have the San Francisco Bay Area with all its tourism attractions. We have just down the road on Highway 5 here, if you want to do target shooting. BLM property is right down the street. There's so much to do here. We have a duck club that's active. So I think that there's a lot. There's a variety of things here, but we do need to do more.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Lambert?
What are your thoughts on creating a sense of community pride in Los Banos?
Right. I think that we need to understand is before pride, there's something else that needs to happen. And that's confidence. Confidence in your city. Confidence in folks that you've elected are doing everything they can to provide those goods and services in a timely and effective manner. Confidence in knowing that as you go about your business, the folks that you've elected, the folks that you put in to serve you are doing everything they can to administer your funds correctly, to ensure your police department is fully funded, your fire department fully funded, your streets are clean up on an accurate manner. So that confidence, once you have that confidence in your city, then it starts to sense a sense of pride. Hey, this place is good to go. This place is operating efficiently. My concerns are met. Maybe I didn't get the answer I wanted, but they responded to me in a timely manner, and they gave me an effective answer, which made me understand why something is happening or when something could happen. So I think first we need to get that sense of confidence that our city is looking out for our residents. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Lewis. Oh, microphone.
Thank you. I'm sorry. What do you hope to accomplish as a council representative for District Number 2?
I think that there are a lot of things that we can do as a city that will benefit District 2. But specifically for District 2, what I'd like to see is continued improvement in our parks. A lot of times, many of our residents, the median income here is not that great. And maybe they're not able to travel outside of the city like, some of us who have been fortunate to do so can. A lot of these cities, this is their outlet. This is where they go for their families, to go to picnic, get-togethers, things like that. So we need to treat that as somebody's backyard, okay? Somebody's respite, somebody's a refuge, if you will. So we need to, I would like to see more improvement on the parks, good maintenance on those parks. A lot of times, the sprinklers, you drive by and you get a free car wash, but that's not what it's for, right? So I need to see more accountability in that area. Roads, a lot of roads, San Luis there. I want to see those improvements. I want to see abandoned vehicles cleaned up and off the road. That creates a hazard for responding first responders. That creates a hazard as people are traveling up and down the road, trying to get home or going to business, because now you have a vehicle that's occupying space that is really an eyesore, and it's a hazard. We need to stay on top of those things, and those are the things that I want to specifically do. Parks, roads, and abandoned vehicles, code enforcement.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And from me, what do you feel is the best reason someone would want to move to Los Banos, and why?
Well, I think we have to be realistic. A lot of why folks move here is because the lower cost of housing relative to where they may be coming from. So we need to understand that that's one of the reasons. But why would they want to stay here? Why would they want to stay here? Why would they want to invest in their community? Why would they want to maybe open a business, shop here, join our civic clubs? One of the great things about our city is that we have very active community civic organizations, the Rotary Club, like Mr. Lee, the Veterans Foreign Wars, American Legion, other such organizations. We're very active, very giving society. And I think those are some of the aspects, those intangibles that I think that makes Los Banos a special place to live. And I think we need to do more to support and promote those organizations.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And we thank you for coming in today, and we ask you to stay on. And if you could go ahead and turn off your camera, and we'll go to our fourth candidate. And I know we don't have to pull that one from a hat. To Mr. Reyes.
Good evening, City Council. Mayor.
Good evening. You may go ahead and begin your opening remarks.
Well, I'm Elias Reyes, and I've lived in Los Banos for a little over 40 years. This is my home. I've raised my children here. I have 3 beautiful children. I married my lovely wife, Barbara. I have 2 gorgeous grandkids. I've served the city of Los Banos for over 20 years in the capacity of a police officer. I've served as a police sergeant for the better part of my career. I've served as our state as a California Department of Forestry firefighter. So you can say I've been in public safety for the better part of 30 years. I've been actively involved in educating a number of our youth through visiting our local schools, teaching safety, bicycle safety. I've also taken part in our local academies that we put on there, the police department, our citizens academies for adults. I think disseminating information to our public is very vital. So I look forward to to serving our community and continuing that service. This is who I am, and this is what I do, and I love our city, and I certainly want to continue my service to it.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to our question. Councilmember Jones.
Hello, Mr. Reyes. What do you feel would be the most important economic catalyst for Los Banos moving forward?
Well, I believe in a strong leadership, and I think the main catalyst, our local businesses are going to be vital in our local recovery, after the pandemic. But I think it's going to take a strong leadership, and looking for resources, looking for options, to keep funding projects, and disseminating information to our local businesses to keep them open. If we are unable to maintain even the most essential of services, that causes delays in permits and business licenses, which are essential in keeping some of these businesses open and reopening. So our businesses are going to be one of the key roles in recovering our economy locally. But I think it's leadership. All of you are going to be the catalyst.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Lambert.
Good evening, Mr. Reyes. What are your
Good
thoughts?
evening,
How does a strong local business community make Los Banos a better place to live?
A strong community is going to keep us shopping here locally. It's going to cut down on traffic. We're not going to have such congestion like we do now. We have a number of commuters, people traveling to the Bay Area for work, and to shop. We want to keep people here shopping locally. We want people to talk about Los Banos. We want to invite, people to settle here, to raise their families here. We want outsiders to come to know the Los Banos, that I've come to know, and that all of you've come to know over the years. A place to shop, to raise your families, a place that's safe to live and to thrive.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Lewis.
Good evening, Mr. Reyes. My question for you is, do you think our Main Street / downtown is healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change that?
Well, that's something that I've talked a lot about with my family over the years. We've had a number of our family members that come down to visit, and one of the things they're always curious about is our downtown area. I don't think it's as healthy as it could be. I would love to see more stores, more options, for people. Perhaps an archway, something that invites people off of Pacheco Boulevard, at the area of 6th and Pacheco, that once they hit that location, they're going to want to see what our downtown's all about. And once they do, giving them options, have stores, where they want to go and shop for clothing, for coffee, for pastries, outdoor seating, maybe some additional lighting, some pavers to kind of highlight the downtown area, and just invite more downtown. Just give it a facelift. We have a number of historic buildings. One of the things I love about Los Banos is our number of historic buildings that we have. Wool growers at the end of 6th Street, there at H Street. Wool growers and Wool Growers Rest. Wouldn't it be wonderful, if one day, that we gave that place a facelift and actually turned it into a restaurant hotel combination like other communities have, like Columbia, for instance. People would want to come here and find out, why John Madden, wants to come and eat at Wool Growers, and they'll want to hang out there in the Wool Growers Rest and shop downtown in our beautiful stores and see what our community is all about, and perhaps invite them in to want to be part of our community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My first question, aside from COVID-19, what do you feel is the biggest challenge facing Los Banos, and how do you feel it should be addressed?
Given my years with the police department, one of the biggest challenges has always been dealing with the homeless. And there are a number of resources out there available. And one of the resources that I've seen available to the city of Los Banos lately is the League of California Cities. We want to find out what other cities are doing, what resources are available to better assist us, with coming up with solutions for these problems. The idea of committees, other cities are implementing committees to collectively crunch ideas to solve this problem. Other cities have been unable to do that. What if we were the ones to unlock the answers to the homelessness issue here in Las Vegas? I think we are more than capable of doing that. But committees, exploring our resources and that are available to us, like the League of Cities, and going and moving forward with that.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember Jones.
What is your favorite thing about Las Banos?
Well, I hope you don't laugh at me, but my favorite thing has always been the Las Banos drugstore. Since I've been here, I can walk into that place and I feel like a kid again. It's like stepping back in time. One of my favorite things to do was, walk in there during a hot summer day, and everybody there knew your name. They knew my name. They addressed me by my first name, and they knew exactly how I liked my cherry frosty. I could, belly up to the lunch counter and first thing in the morning and enjoy a hot breakfast. And it was like, just dipping my feet, into the fountain of youth. I was a kid again. I was enjoying my life. But that gives us an example, of that sense of community we're talking about. You can walk into a store, and people know who you are. You're part of something. You feel like you are part of that community. You're a stockholder.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Lambert.
What are your thoughts on creating a sense of community pride in Las Banos?
I love it. I know that we had a very strong sense of community pride, when I was growing up. And I think that's something that, we've kind of gotten away from, and something that we can have again. It's certainly attainable. One of the things I love, that occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic was the implementation of the drive-in movie theaters, and bringing people together, through the drive-in movie theaters, the street fairs, creating opportunities, for our youth to become involved, committees, where they can help plan events like, our street fairs, our May Day parades, or maybe bring back our kids' parades. The taco truck throwdown, that was brilliant. I love that. Perhaps have a barbecue throwdown. More food related opportunities. Where people are given awards, bragging rights. But I love the idea.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Lewis. Microphone, Ms. Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry again. What do you hope to accomplish as a council representative for District Number 2?
Well, the first thing I hope to accomplish is to pick your brains and to learn what you know, and just come in a humble servant of the city. I want to learn from you, and I want to address the needs that are out there right now. And the only way I can do that, is by going out and meeting with the people. Robert Lynn, when he was part of the city council, when I was a young kid, and I remember seeing one of his posters recently, and talking to somebody about him. He actually went out to the community. He spoke with. He didn't rely on any other source, other than just face-to-face interaction. I want to interact with the people. I want to know what their needs are. I want to address those needs and be honest with them. Communicate with them. Disseminate information to them. They need to feel like they're part of the community. They need to feel like they have a voice. Address the needs and do my best, to serve the city.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And my final question, what do you feel is the best reason someone would want to move to Las Banos, and why?
Opportunities, there's an opportunity, for, take me, for instance, moved here years ago. Now here I am interviewing for a city council position. I had the wonderful privilege, being able to serve the city, as an officer. There were times, when I'm out there, on the weekends, and there's no admin working that day, and I'm the guy in charge of the safety of the city. That responsibility is huge. So the opportunities, to be part of a community, to be part of the May Day Fair, to be part of the planning, commission, to be part of everything that goes on here in our city. The city is centralized; it's near everything. People are going to want to move here because of the cost of the homes. Is relatively inexpensive compared to other larger cities. Plus, this is a wonderful city to raise your family.
Thank thank you very much. We appreciate you coming today and applying. And
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And now we will move on to the next step, and that is the voting procedure. And I don't know if Mr. Vaughn, if you want to say a few words before we go to that.
Well, I would just congratulate all the applicants. From my viewpoint, we had an excellent group of applicants. This isn't easy, but here we are. We're moving on to the selection process. If you look at attachment 2 to the staff report, I hope you have given it a review before the meeting tonight. At our last meeting, you had directed staff to move forward with the elimination process. The idea, kind of the general idea of the elimination process at the time, was to pare down your applicant pool from, at that time, 6 to a manageable number. It still works with the 4 applicants that are still in the pool, and it's kind of set forth by rounds. We've done some simulations from the staff point of view, and it does work. And we're hoping that you don't get down to the dreaded bold-faced tie deadlock language. Round 1, round 2, and round 3, if necessary, are pretty straightforward. Each of you would have 2 votes in round 1, and the idea behind round 1 is to pare down the applicant pool to 2 or 3. It could be 4, but the idea is to pull it down and then go into round 2 with each of you having 1 vote. So there will be at least 2 rounds because there will not be a selection based on your round 1 vote, based on the rules set forth in this voting procedure. So by design, it will take 2 steps, and by design, we're trying to come up with a process that guides you to a majority vote of 3 or 4 of you for the same candidate. So again, I can go over it in more detail, but the first round, you each have 2 votes. You would, by the private chat to the city clerk, state which 2 applicants you want to move forward. And what will happen is Lucy will then, after all of you have done that, she will announce who each of you have selected to move on to the next round. And we will tally up the vote, because anyone who received 1 vote or less, 0, will be eliminated from the next round, round 2. And then round 2, you each have 1 vote, and we're hoping that through that process, depending on how many people are left standing, we will have a consensus of 3 or more. If not, there'll be an elimination in that round as well for anyone who got 0 votes. And then if you are still deadlocked, we've suggested a tiebreaker, which I would suggest maybe we discuss if that happens to make sure you're comfortable with the tiebreaker. There are other ways to break a tie. This tiebreaker is based on drawing, again, a name out of a hat, which you may or may not feel comfortable doing. So what I would suggest is we go to round 1, and each of you, through your private chat, send to the city clerk your 2 choices to make it into round 2. You're certainly willing to. We weren't sure as to how much discussion you wanted to have prior to voting. but that's certainly available to you if you want to do that. We thought it might be better if there wasn't discussion, but you certainly can discuss what you just witnessed in terms of the interviews. So we'll want to go slow and easy here to make sure that the process goes smoothly. But you'll at least have 2 rounds of voting, so you'll have 2 opportunities to select somebody.
Okay.
And if you would just focus in on the B, C, D, and E of the round 1, that's what will be happening.
Okay. Well, is council comfortable? Does council want to take a few minutes to pour over your notes over the candidates, and then send your recommendation, your 2 top recommendations to City Clerk Maloney through the chat? Would that be a good way to do this in the first step?
If you do that, I would suggest everybody stay on video until they've registered their votes with Lucy.
Okay, very good. Is there any council member that would not want to take that? Or Mr. Jones, is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. Lambert?
That's fine.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes, I'm ready for the voting process.
Okay, then we will enter our votes into the chat, to be our first 2 choices in no particular order.
Yeah, you're not choosing number 1 or number 2. You're just you're offering 2 names to make it into the next round. There's no grading or weighted. It's just we'll end up with who makes it into the next round. There's a potential for 4 people to make it into the next round, I believe. So when we get there, we'll get there. We have all of the scenarios, thanks to Sonia, mapped out for you. So if you want to go to your private chat right now, we'll turn it over to Lucy and Sonia for a few minutes. I would suggest you.
Clear on how to use the private chat to ensure that your message goes to Lucy. Remember, once you click the chat bubble in the upper right-hand corner, at the bottom of that bubble, you'll see a selection of people who will get your message. You want to select Lucy Maloney and then enter your message there. Make sure that once you select it, that you can see Lucy's name in the box below, because otherwise your message will go to everyone. So just make sure it says send to Lucy Maloney before you press the send button, which you type your message in the box there, provide it, and then click the send button.
You also need to run the Jeopardy music. For those of us who have been Jeopardy fans, watching the show without Alex Trebek is quite a change. Of course, I remember it with Art Fleming. That's all. I'm dating myself.
Okay, I have all the votes,
Okay,
and I'll announce the votes in alphabetical order with the mayor last.
thank you.
Councilmember Jones voted for Mr. Lamas and Mr. Reyes. Refugio Lamas and Elias Reyes. Councilmember Lambert voted for Refugio Lamas and Elias Reyes. Councilmember Lewis voted for Refugio Lamas and Elias Reyes. And Mayor Faria voted for Refugio Lamas and Elias Reyes. And just to verify that those were your votes, if you could all vocally say yes.
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 Okay. So it looks like it's round one was 2 people with 4 votes. So now we're going to go to round 2, where you will choose between those 2. Choose one between Mr. Yamas and Mr. Reyes. Bill, do you want to talk a little bit?
So you've eliminated Mr. Ramirez and Mr. Lieb, which leaves you with Mr. Yamas and Mr. Reyes. Now you have 1 vote, and depending if either of the candidates remaining gets 3 or more votes, that's your selection.
So council will go ahead and send your selection of either Mr. Yamas or Mr. Reyes to City Clerk Maloney.
Okay, I'm going to announce the votes in alphabetical order with the mayor last. Councilmember Jones voted for Refugio Lamas. Councilmember Lambert voted for Refugio Lamas. Councilmember Lewis voted for Refugio Lamas. Mayor Faria voted for Elias Reyes. And if you could just vocally confirm that those were your correct votes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
And yes. So we have 3 votes for Mr. Yamas. And therefore, the chair can entertain a motion to approve City Council Resolution number 6307, approving an appointee to the Los Banos City Council to serve the remaining term of the District 2 seat on the Los Banos City Council. Do I have a motion?
Mayor,
Mr.
I'd like to
Jones?
make that motion.
Excuse me, Mayor, can you insert the name of Mr. Yamas into that resolution?
Yes. We will approve the appointing of Refugio Llamas to the Los Banos City Council to serve the remaining term of the District 2 seat on the Los Banos City Council. Now, Mr. Jones, your motion?
Thank you.
I'll motion that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Lewis, I'd like to make the second, please.
Have a motion by Councilmember Jones, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Lewis, to appoint Mr. Refugio Llamas to City Council District 2 seat. Roll call, Ms. Melanie?
Jones,
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Faria.
Yes. Congratulations, Mr. Llamas. I believe we do the swearing in this evening?
Not
Your Honor,
tonight. Oh,
Excuse me,
sorry
Your
about
Honor.
that.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I thought I was in court. We did not agendize that because we did not know what the outcome would be, so we can do the swearing in on the 20th. At the top end of your regular meeting on the 20th, and I'd congratulate all of you. This is a difficult process, and you had a difficult 4 persons to consider. So that's good, and that's a testament to our city, actually. So congratulations. I got to tell you, on a personal note, I agonized over this process for the last few days, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did in terms of the way it went smoothly. So I thank you all for that.
Thank you, staff, for all your hard work. We know you put in a lot of hours. Council, it's so nice that the world can watch a council like this work, watch a council meeting like this work. And we show the world how it's done, and done very, very well. I'm very pleased, and I want to congratulate Mr. Llamas. I also want to congratulate all our candidates and thank them for coming tonight. It is a great honor to see this many wonderful people applying for the position, and it's very good to see that kind of choice, and we're very pleased to see Mr. Llamas in the seat. So we will see you, Mr. Llamas. I don't know if you want to put your camera back on. You're welcome to, since you're still here with us. So we will see you next Wednesday for your swearing in, sir.
At 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Very well. Mr. Mayor, thank you, City Council staff. Thank you very, very much. I don't take this lightly. Awesome candidates. I look forward to learning from each and every one of you. Hopefully you can see some initial mistakes and guide me to the proper way of handling business. But again, thank you for this very humbling and very honorable trust. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor,
I'll
Council.
make that motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Lewis was in first for the motion,
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
and Councilmember Jones.
I'll second that. Thank you.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lewis, second by Councilmember Jones to adjourn. Roll call, Miss Melanie?
Jones,
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Faria
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
at 5:31 p.m.
5:31, thank you. The clock on this computer, I have to fix it because it's off.